Good morning. I'm glad you're here. If you are new, welcome. And if returning, thank you for your support. Please like and subscribe. It's the best and easiest way to help grow the channel. Thank you. Today, a Mendelssohn masterpiece in every sense of the word. A Midsummer Night's Dream, incidental music. This is the original recordings group release from 2010. It's a 45 RPM 2-record set from the original London Records release and pressed at RTI. It was remastered by Bernie Grundman. It's from the original 1958 London Records US release. It was released the same year in the UK on Decca. It was engineered by Cyril Weinbank and produced by James Walker, and recorded by Decca 27th to 20th of February 1957 in Kingsway Hall, London. Swiss conductor Peter Maag is conducting the London Symphony Orchestra with soprano vocals Jennifer Vivian and Marion Lowe, and with the female chorus of the Royal Opera House Covent Garden. Original Recordings Group, or ORG, began in 2006, released only about 10 classical titles with many more jazz titles, and though the website remains active, it redirects to the elusive disc. Essentially, as a record company, it's out of business, which is a shame because their catalog is second to none for remastering quality. So why is this famous Decca recording so superb and an all-star and number 2 on my list? The choices in this series are from the Audiophilia Dream List. I began the list in 2022. It's received a lot of attention, includes all genres of music, but with an emphasis in my genre of choice, classical, and has been updated several times and now includes a couple of hundred titles. Of course, I consider them all all-stars for performance, interpretation, and sound, but there are some that I return to often. Yes, I have favorites. Here's number 2, and what a cracker it is. So let's get into why this is such a magical record. I did check on Discogs. Unfortunately, there's one available. It's about $130. It's sealed. I think that's $130 with shipping. So you better move fast. There's a couple of VG Pluses at various stores on the internet, nothing on eBay. And the reason it's hard to come by is because it's so magnificent. So let's just talk about the music first. It's by Mendelssohn. It's his incidental music to Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. The music is very famous, incredibly beautiful. It's broken down into several parts with a very famous overture. Mendelssohn actually wrote the overture separately when he was 17 years old. It's quite remarkable. It's a magnificent work. It begins with those 4 incredibly challenging chords to play in tune with the woodwinds and the French horn. And then comes the fairies, very fast violins, beautifully orchestrated by a 17-year-old. The braying of the ass. E-or, you'll hear it. It's amazing for a 17-year-old to kind of get that into a formal setting. It's wonderful. And then, of course, there's the famous nocturne with the French horn solo, the brilliant scherzo with the flute part that's on every audition is very challenging. And the famous wedding march. And this has the soprano parts as well. Ye Spotted Snakes and some other tracks with Jennifer Vivian and Marion Lowe. Singing beautifully, and the chorus of the Opera House Covent Garden, female chorus, they're wonderful. But of course, it's the LSO and Peter Maag playing the music, and it's insightful, it's dramatic, it's got incredible dynamics, the way the LSO play it. And they're recording it in Kingsway. We'll talk about the sound in a second. So this is the ORG from 2010. Unfortunately, they're out of business now. And the remastering is by Bernie Grundman, no other. It's a pretty simple 2 LP set, 45 RPM. Pretty basic notes. And on the back, we have the number. Mine was 386. I think they do about 3,000 pressings. No more than that. The full frequency stereophonic sound. This is from the London edition, the US edition. And you can see from the cover, I put a picture of the cover of the original Decca, which is also kind of funky, but this one is hilarious. It's so funky, it's kind of cute. I love the colors But I love the donkey's head. There it is. So let's talk a little bit about the performances. The LSO in 1956 was still kind of in transition. A lot of the players, including John Burden, the principal horn, who was a professor of mine of chamber music at Trinity when I was there, a wonderful man, wonderful teacher. He was principal horn of the LSO from 1946 to 1950, I think it was 54. And there was a big bust-up with the management and the players, including Mr. Burden and Eddie Walker, the principal flute. They wanted to do more film music because it was very lucrative. And the big answer was no, we're going to remain just the symphony orchestra. And so a lot of players left and started the Sinfonia of London, which has now had a resurgence and is making some great recordings. But they did quite a few film scores and their own recordings. But then it kind of died out. The LSO, of course, kept on going. But the LSO decided, I think, with their funding model, they hired some really tremendous players around this time, including Barry Tuckwell on French horn, Dennis Wick on trombone, Alex Murray on flute, Gervais Depaya on clarinet. Hugh McGuire was the concertmaster. Anyway, they were wonderful players. And the orchestra started coming around. I mean, it was good in the 40s and 50s, but by 56, 57, it was still really started to get its international reputation back. And by the early 60s, then they were really cooking with gas, as they say. So the performances here are spectacular. All the woodwind solos, Gervais Depaya clarinet, Alex Murray's flute playing, and of course, the beautiful French horn solo in the Nocturne by Barry Tuckwell. It's just a tremendous performance. And the strings as well, especially in the scherzo and the overture, where the string parts are very difficult. So now let's talk about the recording. Well, the original recording is very good. I've only heard it once. It was good. It was a Decca pressing. It was in pretty rough shape. But I loved it so much, I actually bought the Speaker's Corner version. And it has that same Decca cover on. And it's very good. It's one of the best Speaker's Corner. If you have it, there's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. It's dynamic. But nothing compares to this one. Bernie Grundman hit it out of the park with this. Mainly, it's the instrumental layering. It's so beautiful. The LSO sound amazing anyway. The recording makes them sound even more beautiful. Cyril Weinbach's engineering from Kingsway Hall with the Decca tree, just fabulous. Very, very beautiful. But it's the layering of the instruments. After those first opening four chords, which are perfectly balanced by those LSO players, by the way, it's very, very challenging. And then the strings come in, that very fast violin part. Just listen to the way Bernie Grundman gets those separated, and yet as a musical whole. And then when the orchestra comes in forte, or double forte, I should say, on the main melody, about 32 bars in. Oh, it's fantastic. It's so beautiful. And of course, perfectly balanced playing, nothing sticking out, just all very beautifully blended by Peter Mark. He's a very fine conductor, by the way. Anyway, back to the recording. Definitely the layering that Bernie Grundman gets, the timbre of the instruments, the timbral execution of the instruments is just spectacular. But Bernie Grundman does a splendid job on everything. The horn solo, how it's balanced in the Nocturne. The voices are beautiful in a lovely sound stage. The imaging is excellent. Listen in the scherzo just before the recap, and you'll hear pizzicato basses, the back right side of the hall, in a perfectly beautiful acoustic. So yeah, it's a great original recording, and it's a great remastering on Speaker's Corner. But if you can find this one, if you're lucky enough to come across it in a bin somewhere, or you find someone that has it that wants to sell it, it's really worth seeking out. I will warn you about one thing. When I've got these ORGs, they've been on the shelf sealed for like 10, 12, 13 years, and they have come a little bit warped. Nothing that's going to damage your cartridge, nothing that damages the sound or the pitch of the sound, but just to let you know that out of the 5 that I have, 3 came a little bit warped. So there you go. A Midsummer Night's Dream by Mendelssohn, played by the LSO on the original recordings group, reissue from 2010, remastered by the great Bernie Grundman. So thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.